Alright, so this is going to be the second video here. This one's going to show you how to create the 3 pockets on the face here. So we obviously want to sketch on this blue surface. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to select the surface. You can see it highlighted in blue. If you come up here to the view orientation window, there's this little button right here. It's a surface with an arrow coming out of it. That's the normal to. So if you select that, it's going to make this surface appear straight onto us, which will make sketching a little easier to view. Just a little trick. So we'll select that as our sketching surface. And then they run a center line down the middle, so I'll go ahead and do that. You can see there's the midpoint there. Make sure you select the midpoint. Got a center line, okay. You'll see why that's useful in a minute. So I'm going to go and put a rectangle on here. I'm going to purposely draw it off center like so. That'll make selecting the midpoint of the line here easier. So I'll select that midpoint, and then I'll select the center line, and I'm going to make these coincident. That's going to automatically center my rectangle on the surface. So as one side moves closer to the edge, the other side will too. So now we don't have to worry about dimensioning it to the center. Okay. Next, we'll just want to put in the smart dimensions. So for this, we know we're going to fillet all these corners later. So I don't want to select the corners for my smart dimension because that's going to cause problems. So I'm going to select the entire line here, and I'm going to select the entire line down here. And that's going to be a dimension of 2 inches. Okay. Then we know that they use a 1-inch dimension actually here to center it, but if you think you might modify this dimension later, it's easier to use the relation because it'll keep it centered even as this changes. You won't have to change 2 smart dimensions. You do it however you like. The other thing we need to get right here is the spacing from the side. That's going to be 0.625. Okay. And then that should, we need to get the width here. That's 1.25. Okay. And then we'll come up here and select sketch fillet, and we'll fillet the corners here. Okay, so it's still going to cause some issues, but just click yes. May have to do it a couple times here. There we go. We'll just say yes. Again, that's because down here I selected this line instead of selecting the side lines. That would have eliminated my issue. But it automatically fixed itself, so we're okay. So my fillet is supposed to be 0.08. Make sure you change that. And then we'll click the check mark to accept it. And now we have filleted corners and a ton of relations. We've got all our dimensions in though. You can see it's fully defined. So now I'm going to mirror the or pattern this to make the other 2 here. The book does this using one single sketch for these pockets. Once we get to the end of the chapter, though, we're going to make different configurations of this same part. I'll explain configurations more in a little bit, but basically we'll have a shorter configuration that's only 4 inches long, about right here, and it's only going to have 2 pockets. Since we're doing this in a sketch, we'll have, the third pocket will be out in space, basically, and that's how we'll kind of eliminate it. The best way to really be doing this for multiple configurations, one part with different versions of it, is to cut this one pocket and then do a linear feature pattern instead of a sketch pattern, because you can modify feature patterns a lot easier for different configurations. But in this case, we'll be able to make it work. Let's get out of fillet here. So we're going to go up here to linear sketch pattern. The x-axis is not the direction we want to go here. So we're going to select any horizontal line here. So we'll select that edge. The distance, well, this is 1.25 wide, and we need a 1/2 inch gap between this one and the next one. So that's going to give us a distance of 1.75 when we add those together. And we're going to want 3 of them, including the original one, so we'll put 3. And then we just need to, you can ignore direction 2 here. We're just doing one direction, and then entities to pattern down at the bottom is what we want. You may need to scroll down. I closed direction 2, but it's down at the bottom here. So select entities to pattern, and we'll click inside the rectangle. That'll select everything. You can see it went the wrong direction here, so we'll change the pattern, and then we should be good. So we'll select the check mark. There's our pattern there. You can see it's underdefined. That's just because we don't have the distances here. So you could put those in. We'll have to change them later, so for other configurations. So you might as well put them in. That's 0.5. This one's also 0.5. It's telling us it's fully defined. Yeah, so I don't need to put that. We can change that spacing later, though. All right. So the only thing you'd need to do now here is extrude cut. It's going to have you do a blind extrude cut to 1/2 inch. We can turn and view that, make sure it's cutting the right direction, which it is. And then we'll go ahead and cut that. And now we have our pocket features on the side there on that angled surface. So that's it for this video. This should be all pretty straightforward stuff. Just wanted to mention a few things for later on in the videos, though. The next video is going to cover Hole Wizard. Hole Wizard is definitely a new feature, so I'd highly recommend everybody watch that video. If you're going to skip some of these, that's not one to skip. But it is fairly straightforward and simple. Hope this helps, and I'll see you in the next video.